Hi, this is Adam Wiggins. Today I'll be presenting my final report for my internship that I completed over part of the summer and fall of 2014 with Meritage Homes. This is a shot just from their headquarters right down the road from UTSA between Northwest Military and Huebner Road on the eastbound lanes of 1604. Um, Meritage Homes is one of the top 10 builders, or has been ranked as one of the top 10 builders consistently in the nation. They're a Fortune 500 company, of course. Their current market cap is $1.37 billion, and today the stock price closed at just over $35. If you're interested in any of that information, their stock ticker is MTH. They were started in 1985 in Arizona as a real estate investment trust. But after a few key acquisitions and transitions into the builder market, 20 years later, here we are operating in 9 different states with 3 different product lines. Those states include all of our sunshine states: Florida, California, Texas, Arizona, Colorado, where they operate a few different neighborhoods in the Denver area. And then they've also moved into Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee in the most recent years. Those 3 product lines, one of which is just under the regular old Meritage Homes name, and then the Monterey Homes are a luxury line that are only being built in Texas and Arizona currently. All 4 major metroplexes in Texas are being serviced by Meritage Homes, and Monterey is also in all 3. Monterey is actually only built in one neighborhood, actually in San Antonio, and that would be the Dominion. And then they also have a new line of products that they came out with for the Arizona market called Active Adult. They're trying to get into the senior living active adult market. Here below, you can see a few of the accolades that Meritage Homes has gotten. Whoop, I apologize. We're 2014 Energy Star Partner of the Year for continued excellence. We've gotten that a few times before as well. Right here in San Antonio, we've gotten the 2014 Build San Antonio Green Partner of the Year, and we received that last year as well. Meritage Homes has been a 5-time Texas Builder of the Year, and what they're really proud of in the office is Forbes Platinum 400 Best Big Companies of America. But here I'd like to move on to what it is that I actually do as a assistant construction manager. Here is a screenshot from the program we use called BuildPro. BuildPro is the lifeblood of our entire business. Everything I do is centered around this program, other than sending emails. Anytime I need to make a change order, put in a PO, or just everyday tasks like looking at what it is on my to-do list that day, that will be all through BuildPro. The tab, directly underneath me is the Jobs tab. That's where everything that I do is located. Here we have inspections. We don't really use that. BuildPro was something that was centered in the office, and there was one person that we had to go through to do all of our updates. It became really tedious, and so within the last few months since I've started with the company, they've actually relinquished control of BuildPro to the actual builders. Templates and supply, we don't really use that, but SupplyPro is used by some of our vendors. It's just a counterpart to BuildPro. SupplyPro will show when they need to send things out, when things are scheduled currently, so that if I forget to touch base with one of them, they'll contact me. It'll show you all the active jobs, and you can set up this dashboard however you really want it. It'll even show you the weather, but I honestly haven't taken the time to customize it. I'm still learning every day with this. So whenever we go underneath the Jobs tab, if you just click Jobs, what it will pull up automatically, and it'll give you access to PO or to put in a PO or anything like that. You can look and see pending EPOs, what you need to call and nag the office about to get completed for you. But if you click on Jobs, it'll take you to this screen. It'll show you all the list of jobs. Since I was promoted last month, just before Thanksgiving, to running my own neighborhood. And now that I am a full-time employee with the company, I'm actually running 17 homes right now. Some of these have been sitting for months and are still on my list, just simply because they're waiting on getting their landscaping and irrigation completed. That's been a whole fight back and forth between the office and the city of Converse and the builders that I work with. Converse was first wanting to have all of the landscaping installed and irrigation, but then they wouldn't let us use the irrigation system because we were in stage 3 restrictions. And the city of Converse is actually a lot more strict with water than the city of San Antonio is. So basically, here's a rundown of all my jobs. Here under this tab, it says JME. That is the most important thing for all of BuildPro for the builders out there. What that stands for is Job Management Express. And on the next screen, we'll go down and see. This is what an old JME will look like for if I'm looking for things that have already been completed or when they were completed. Basically, right here, we'll have check marks to show that it has been completed, what it is, who did it, and then when it started and when it ended. So the start and end dates are going to be the start and end dates. This is when it needs to be started by. This is when it needs to be done by. But then right here you'll see the completion date. So you can see they were actually in time with the lead date, which is basically just, it'll tell you when you're ahead. The lead date is there, and we don't really even pay that much attention to it. Really, all I use the lead date for is when I'm running through and getting myself a week out or scheduling 2 weeks out, making sure that I'm contacting all the vendors and making sure they know to show up. I'll check out that lead date, and that'll pretty much give me a good rough estimate of who I need to call that day. And then there's some trades that I just know that they're going to be a week behind, or I need to call them 3 days before or a week before, anything like that. So, and then the completion date will basically show you on the next screen where you get that information from. But all these checks show that these are all things that have been completed. Oddly enough, you can't see behind my head, but this is for 10114 Shawnee Bluff, and that house is not ahead like it used to be. There was a slight problem in reading the plans, and the plumbers failed to complete drain pipes for a shower pan in the master. And of course, the buyer, being 90 years old, definitely wants that stand-up shower, so we had to do a lot of chipping out and all that kind of thing. But that's another story for another day. So here we go for all the things that need to get done. Again, I'm in JME right now, and it'll show you this play sign, or you'll have a clock. These are the only two things that you'll see whenever you're looking at current things or things that are to be scheduled out. If it has a play sign, it's not late yet. You need to stay on it. It's something that you need to call and make sure that everything is there. Obviously, the farther up on it is on your list. And then you can see that in this screen we can actually edit the end date, and we can edit the reschedule date. Usually the rule of thumb is if it's any more than 2 days, you're going to change the date over here, and then it will change the end date. If you change just the end date, it needs to be within those 2 days, or else you're going to risk messing up your entire schedule. And then here's a checkbox for completion. Now there's also a checkbox down here for skip. Now the reason that is there is because that is an EPO. Usually if it's something that's allowed to be skipped, it's a memo or something like that. And all of these say M or P. P means it's paid. It's something we're paying somebody to do. M is usually just something, it's a reminder for me, a memo. So here we have the build safety railing. There's a ton of little things that I've learned already that can clue you in on what options that they're going to have without even looking at the deco sheet. When it says build safety railing with Dallas Rail, that automatically tells me that they're not getting half walls when they come down the stairs. They're going to have a spindle banister. The next thing for the EPO, you can see that it says task status. It has a clock, so it's late. And But since it's an EPO, that means I put it in on a certain date, and I'm still waiting on the office to approve it for me. So you can go ahead and skip that. And then you can see farther down at the bottom of the screen, we have BSAG installation inspection. That's a memo. That's just another reminder to remind me if we've got the installation coming at this time, we need to have BSAG there the day after to inspect. And then schedule pre-drywall. That's, again, another memo for a meeting. Then we'll move on to our stages. As you saw on the last slide, last two slides, all of these are broken down into certain stages. There are 10 stages. They are numbered 0 to 9. We start with pre-construction, move on to slab, framing, intermediate inspection, drywall, cabinets, countertops, flooring, construction completion, and warranty handoff. The most important stages here are going to be the first four, with a specific emphasis on 2 and 3. Those two can put you way behind, and I'll go into all of these in more depth here shortly. So, well, if we can get not to skip. Stage 0. Okay, pre-construction. So, pre-construction includes getting the engineers out there, and they'll survey the site, and then they'll survey in our foundation. They'll stake it, and then we'll go ahead and call T&D Moravitz, and they'll come out and put the forms up after the lot has been scraped. So then once the forms are up, we'll call Miller Plumbing. They'll come out, do their plumbing rough, which is basically tying into the city sewer and water lines, and then we'll get that inspection. Once that's been approved, we'll go ahead and start with backfill. And I'm going to go on to the next one. Now, this is still part of pre-construction, but I'll go on to the next one just so I can show you some pictures here. This is for plumbing rough. You can see all of these are up high. That's going to go ahead and tell us that that's a 2-story house. So then they get all the plumbing rough in. All the white in the middle you can see is what's called base. It's kind of like caliche or decomposed granite, something like that. And that's put in underneath the pipes. Helps improve drainage. If there is a leak, it won't wash a hole out in the soil underneath the house or anything like that. So it's very important that they have that base there to support those pipes, because it's much less likely to cause problems in the long run. Once that's been approved, we'll start our backfill. They'll take bags and lots and lots of base. They'll bag up. And it looks a little orangish in that bottom right picture. And then they'll put bags on for each of the supports for the slab itself, and then we'll put in our chairs and post-tension cables. That picture on the left obviously is a little farther down from slab, but that's just a testament to how quickly they move. That house was poured and framed up within a week and a half, so they didn't even have time to come cut the cables yet. And of course, all of our slabs have post-tension cables running through and all that kind of thing for the proper support. We'll move on to framing after that. Once the slab's been poured, we'll go ahead and get framing started. These two pictures to the left side of the screen, these are all of our walls and trusses coming out. Hart Components compiles all these materials for us and makes all these for us, and then they bring them out, and we pay a premium to have all those, but with such a huge trade shortage across the board, and paired with the time it takes to build houses of this size, we pay a premium, but the money winds up coming back to us just out of how many homes that we build and how many we're able to put up so quickly. These guys, the crews that we have out there in MacArthur Park and Rolling Creek are really top notch, and they can slap up a 2-story house with these components in 2.5 days for the largest one, and a day for a 1-story. And if they had to do it from stick, all the measuring, all the cutting they'd have to do, it would prolong the process at least by double. So it's really something that's very important to keep that contract with Hart. And they also do a little bit of framing for us, but it's only in a couple different neighborhoods. Here on the right side of the screen, you'll see the one of the largest homes that we built out there in MacArthur Park, and that house was done in 2.5 days. This was the morning of the third day. And then, so stage 3, the most important thing here. Well, in stage 2, we're getting all of our frame in. We're going to get our wind braces in, which I'll explain later. And then we get all of our top out, our plumbing top out. And then we get our electrical rough and a mechanical rough. And then we'll also call Builder Security Group to come out and do their security pre-wire. And that comes standard on all of our homes. And then we'll also get the roof inspected at that time. So what happens with the roof is when they put decking on, sheathing can either be on or off, but what is necessary for the roofing inspection, and I'll go in depth a little later when we talk about inspections, but we have to have the shingles on. They cannot be installed, but they have to be up on the roof to prove to the inspector that the roof is indeed constructed correctly and will bear the weight of itself, basically. And then we'll move on to stage 4, drywall. Here on the left side, you'll see that we have the backing up for our spray insulation. All of our insulation is polyurethane spray. And then they'll come back and take down that backing, and they'll cut down with Sawzall to make sure everything that is sprayed is even with the studs. And that sometimes poses a little bit of a problem because with the spray foam insulation, it expands naturally, and that can sometimes push wires out of the wall, and they wind up getting cut when they come back. So as soon as you get spray done and you're able to enter a house, you have to go and spray paint everything that's been cut, and you're going to have to wait a day, maybe 2 days, to get your inspections done before you can start hanging drywall. It'll be at least 2 or 3 days before drywall. So it gives you a very slim amount of time to get whatever electrical lines were cut repaired, so you don't hold drywall up. And then they'll go ahead and hang, tape, and float all the drywall in a couple days. If it's 2-story, a large one, it may take them a full work week, but usually the norm is 2.5 to 3 days. Next, we'll have our cabinets go in. Once drywall's on, we'll get the spray texture in, and then we'll get our first coat of paint on the walls. And hopefully it's completed before you get cabinets in, so you don't have to worry about getting anything on your cabinets and have to worry about cleaning that later. And then right after cabinets, countertops go in. Whenever the cabinets go in and they're installed, we'll go ahead and give calls to Weisenbaker, who supplies all of our granite, and they'll come out and measure. And then, if need be, whatever the homeowner opted for, we'll also call Venetian, which is who provides these white cultured marble sinks, and that I'm really not a fan of them. They cause a lot of problems, and they're cheaper in the short run, but a lot of people wind up having them warp or have discoloration or anything like that. So it's basically all it is basically fancy concrete. And then stage 7 is our flooring. I couldn't get a good shot of our hardwood floors. Excuse me. I couldn't get a good shot of our hardwood floors as all the houses have been moved into. But here's a shot of our model home, and they had tile throughout the bottom floor of the house, and it's really nice. That's actually one of our most popular options, is getting tile throughout. It makes it easier for me because there's less cleanup afterwards as well. And then stage 8 is construction completion. This is all doing your final paint, getting your final coat of stain on the door, window screens, getting your irrigation installed and set up, making sure all of our electrical outlets are going well and all that kind of thing. All of our light bulbs are in, get splash blocks out, and get Curlex on the yard, since now that we're not doing the landscape thing. And then stage 9 is the last stage, and after we complete the buyer orientation and their final sign off, the warranty handoff period begins. This is the point at which we'll go ahead and start the clock, basically, on warranties. And all final inspections have been approved. CO has been issued, and they're ready to move into their brand new home. And here we have our inspections. So I'm going to move myself over just a little bit. Okay, so here we have our inspections. So we will have our form survey, our plumbing, rough, and pre-pour and engineer inspection in the first stage, like I said earlier. And then in our frame stage, we have plumbing top out, electrical, mechanical, frame, wind brace, decking, water intrusion, and flat work. Flat work has an asterisk next to it for a reason that I will shortly explain. And then we have 3 different insulation inspections. We'll have Build San Antonio Green, which comes out to do their accreditation. Veritas will come out and do an inspection for accreditation with Energy Star, and then the city comes out and does their own inspection just so they have it for their records and make sure it was done correctly. And then our finals, this will be stage 8 and 9. We'll have our fence building, which is just to make sure the house was constructed correctly. There's not any major problems that have arisen. We'll get our electrical to make sure all of our plugs are working properly, have light bulbs and switches working the right way, no crossed wires, that kind of thing. Mechanical will come in and make sure that our AC is working properly. There's no problems with any of the plenum seals or ductwork having holes in it after all the people being in the house. We'll get a plumbing final, make sure all of our sinks and toilets are flushing and draining properly. And then we'll get our final grade inspection from ATS. Quality assurance walk will be done by Veritas, just to make sure that everything is up to par. And then we'll have our energy final, which is basically an energy audit on the house, and just to make sure it's hitting the projections that we expect. And then Build San Antonio Green will come in and do an energy inspection for their accreditation. So for our frame inspections, it's the most important time. This is the stage at which your schedule will be made or broken. So I'll go ahead and start with the far left picture. Basically, that's just showing the pre-installation that we have to have done. If this isn't completed before our frame walk is done by the inspector, we'll fail just for that. It's something that takes no more than 15 minutes to do a whole house, and we'll fail it just for that because they want to make sure that it's not something that's missed. So we have the rest of the house insulated, but then the insulators forget to do those things. So they have us do it beforehand, just to make sure that it's completed and isn't something that's overlooked and then halfway done later on. In the middle, we have a picture of the bottom of the roof decking before spray. Basically, all they're looking for in roof decking is make sure that the roof can support its own weight. So we'll have shingles up on the roof. But the main thing they're looking for is these little silver clips in the middle there. Those clips are what hold the sections of decking together. And without those, you got a floppy roof. That picture on the right, obviously it's passed because we have shingles on the roof already. But really what they want to see is that you have the sheathing up and then all the shingles just stacked on the peak of the roof. Rarely do we fail one of those inspections. It's very simple. They go in and basically just bang on the underside of the roof decking. And then finally, this picture down on the bottom right, again, this house is already well beyond frame inspection stage, but I just wanted to show the wind braces. Those cannot exceed 45 degrees, and they cannot fall below 30 degrees in angle. So making sure that we have those correct angles is very important because they'll make us tear out those 1x2s and redo them. And of course, it's not as important here in San Antonio, but in hurricane-stricken areas, those wind braces will really come into play. And then, we'll have our plumbing top out, which is basically just to make sure that all of our pipes are connected correctly. We've got them going to the right place. All of our washouts and connections are in, and then all of our PEX lines are complete, don't have any holes in them or anything like that. We use PEX lines in all of our homes because they just hold up better over the long term. And you don't have to really worry about harmful stuff in your water as much, getting leached out or anything like that. So we have two for one for the hot water for the sink and one for hot water for our dishwasher, with blue line for the sink as well. And then you'll see the two boxes down there. One's for the dishwasher and one's for the garbage disposal. One of the biggest things that they'll nail you on the electrical inspection is make sure that every wire is stapled within 6 inches of the box. This is also the stage that you'll get your meter loop inspected. Right here you'll see that we have our low voltage wires coming out of the wall, but basically right next to that is where you'll have your 220 coming out of the wall as well to hook up to your meter and breakers. So then we move on to mechanical. Make sure all of our plenums are sealed, no holes in the ductwork, all that kind of thing. And then that bottom right picture I wanted to touch again on real quick. That's part of the plumbing top out. What that is the washout that would eventually go to the sewer. So during plumbing top out, they want to make sure again that all the tubs don't have leaks. All of our toilets don't have leaks, showers don't have leaks, all that. So what they'll do is they'll fill up all the tubs and everything with water and make sure that it holds water. And then they'll come out and cap it here to make sure that that water stays exactly where it is. So when an inspector comes a day or so later and there's not water there, well, then they know that there's a leak somewhere. And then that's just sealed with a simple rubber cap with a band clamp on it. And I've had a few explode and shoot water all across the yard. And then we get on to our water intrusion inspection. This is also a very, very important inspection. Basically, this is the point at which we have Tyvek, the roof's on, and we're about to be putting the masonry or stucco on, anything like that. There's a real quick way to tell the difference between a house that's going to have brick on the front or a house that's going to have stucco on the front. We don't do any stucco in Rolling Creek where I work, but MacArthur Park where I was working does both stone, brick, and stucco. So the real quick way to look at it is if it just has Tyvek on the front and then has a big thick 3x3 lintel, you're going to have brick or stone on the house. And that lintel is going to be covered with Moist Stop, just so where if there's any water that gets behind that masonry, it's going to come out at the lintel or one of the weep holes. This house here at the bottom is one that's still currently under construction, and one that we had a slight problem with Hart Components. They brought out a half wall because due to a plan error and had to get it cut down upstairs. But that, again, a different story for a different day. So on the other side we have a house that's going to be getting stucco. Real quick way to look at that is do you get your T-lath on the side, and then you'll get a thin piece of Z-flashing basically as a lintel over your garage. And that's what the stucco looks like on the bottom when it's first put on. They add stain or paint to it depending upon what the homeowner requested. And then we get to flat work. So flat work has an asterisk by it. And I'm going to explain this, and it's not going to make any sense because the picture I used is not doing what I'm talking about. But flat work, basically, whenever it gets time to put up masonry or anything like that, builders have a different preference. My preference is to get it on before, so that it just keeps the house itself cleaner. But the only problem with that is then you're going to have to go back later on and wind up scraping mortar or stucco or something off of the driveway. And the other way to do it is get the house almost complete and then get your flat work in. The only problem there is you better hope that they don't have carpet in the house because it's going to get ruined and you'll probably have to replace it. So I like to just get everything done beforehand. It keeps the streets cleaner, it keeps the houses cleaner, it keeps everybody happier. So flat work gets installed. We put our control joints in. We used wood at the bottom of the driveway, and we used we use thin pieces of foam up at the front of the driveway where it meets with the house, and then you get your rebar put in at the intersections of the control joints and expansion joints, and then the chairs weren't installed on this one yet, but all of that will have chairs underneath it to suspend it and give it the proper support that it needs. So when we pour the concrete, all that wire mesh stays right in the middle. And then one of the extra things that we do in our homes that I wanted to point out was the way that we integrate pest control into the house. Meritage does everything that we can using water-based, low VOC paints, all that kind of thing in our home. So to continue with that, whenever the homeowners move in, we install a pre-wired or pre-tubed, I guess, pest control. Whenever it's in frame stage, before we get any farther into it, we'll call the pest control company and they'll come out and spray all of our wet areas and exterior walls to the house. And that's what you're seeing in the bottom right in green. And then they'll also run, when the frame has been completed, they'll also run black lines through so that should the homeowner ever call pest control, well, when the homeowner calls pest control again, all they have to do is hook up to the service panel on the side of the house and basically pump the chemicals in there to where they're not pumping it in the house where anybody else will have to breathe it. And then energy savings is the biggest thing for Meritage Homes, and one of the big reasons that I wanted to work for them. The big thing that gets thrown, the big quote that gets thrown around is that our homes save 50% in energy. Compared to a house of the same size, we will save 50% roughly on every house that we build. And it's actually very ironic that I work for them, because my house, or my apartment, is 720 square feet, and I pay as much as a 2,000 square foot home does in energy, which is pretty astounding. Everything, like I said, everything that we use has spray foam insulation. It really helps cut down on everything, getting in and out of the house. Our houses are actually so tight, in fact, that for our AC systems to work properly, we have to have a fresh air intake from the exterior of the home. And our AC units actually run with a stronger emphasis on relative humidity than they do temperature. Because our houses are so tight, we can keep it at the same temperature with minimal input from the AC. The only problem is it runs so little that we can create air stagnation in the home, and then it gets real nasty and sticky in the house. So we'll have AC units that will run simply to maintain a proper moisture level. Like I said, all homes have spray foam polyurethane insulation, and it's not an option. And we also have other amenities, dual flush toilets, low flow sinks, that kind of thing. And those are all optional. But regardless of what options are chosen, every home is going to wind up being 100% Energy Star certified. And then talk a little bit more about my role. When I first started with the company in July, I really didn't know what to expect, because I had never been in the industry before. My original goal with my degree was to go into sales, with the end goal of basically being able to invest in residential myself and flip houses, that kind of thing. So this way I'm able to go about it from a backdoor method, I guess. But this way I'll also know all of the practical knowledge I need to where, everything that wasn't covered in my college classes, now I'm learning that. So I'm getting the best of both worlds with my education and with this job. So when I first started, I was really running around for Brandon Flippo and Jordan Pierce, basically being a handyman. They'd hand me orientation sheets and that kind of thing, little tasks to just get me familiarized with the whole building process and that kind of thing. And then when Brandon Flippo left, Jordan was left in charge of 2 neighborhoods, the one I'm running and the one he's currently running now. And we were pretty terribly behind on where we needed to be. So he assigned me to do all the warranty calls, and I sat on warranty calls for probably about 2 weeks and did that nonstop. And then once I got all those caught up, I got back out in the field and started working with Jordan again. Adrian Padilla came out, and he was hired on at the same time I was. And he came out and worked with us. So the 3 of us were getting that one caught up while I was still training. And then earlier, I believe I stated that in late August, whenever I was done with all my summer classes, our boss Dane, who's the head of construction, offered me a full-time position with the company now that I wouldn't be taking classes. So of course I accepted, wanting to get out of debt as soon as possible, and now I'm an assistant construction manager. And then last month, just before Thanksgiving, I was given another promotion, and now I am the lead construction manager at Rolling Creek in Converse. So, you know, I was thrown into the lion's den definitely without having the time to build a house myself. Just one from slab all the way up to stage 9 handoff, and you know, it was definitely running through the gauntlet whenever I had to run my own neighborhood myself. But it's enjoyable, and I really do feel like this job has been a blessing to me. So basically, my goals for employment with the company, finishing out, you know, I want to be a construction manager by the third quarter of this next coming year. It's not an unheard of goal or anything like that. And it's only a marginal bump in salary, really. But what you are able to do is that you have that title, and then you get assigned more homes, so that, you know, yeah, the salary is only a little bit more, but you're also getting more homes, so you're getting more bonus pay and all that kind of thing. And I just think I'll be ready for that. I like having a challenge put in front of me. That's the best way I learn, and the way for me to be the best builder I can be is just to keep pushing more challenges. I learned more in the past month of managing Rolling Creek by myself than I did the previous 2 months, you know, working under somebody else. So I'm really a first-hand guy. So that's basically what all my goals are going to be is you know, something that's really ambitious. I really want to start my own neighborhood. After mid-February, Rolling Creek will pretty much be buttoned up, and they'll probably move me back to MacArthur Park and give me another neighborhood to start, or finish out, rather. So the next goal for me is to start my own neighborhood. I would like for that to happen, you know, within 6 months of CM1 promotion, and then I want to be top. I really want to be the top builder. There's about a dozen of us builders here in San Antonio, and Brandon, who was in MacArthur Park during the second quarter of this past year, he got top builder. Jordan Pierce got top builder the following quarter and the following 2 quarters, actually. And that's basically been the inspiration for me. I want to be top builder, and then I want to be top builder consecutively. I want to stay at the top. If I'm going to stick with Meritage Homes, the entire time I'm with this company is going to be building to the goal of being in one of our premier communities in San Antonio. Not that the other 2 are that I've been working in or anything to sniff at. You know, I definitely appreciate the opportunity that's been given to me, but I strive to be the best. So my end goal is to, you know, be working on Monterey Homes or something like that in the Dominion if I'm going to be staying here. So, but what's most likely for now is with MacArthur Park starting a new section here in the first quarter. They actually just sold their first home, first piece of dirt last week. And I think they'll probably send me back there. I'm already familiar with it. And then Rolling Creek will be building up the land for the new section during the third quarter. And this bottom picture here on the right is where the blacktop ends in Rolling Creek, and where that tree line is in the back is actually where a small creek runs. So all of this is currently in the floodplain. They're going to have to do some considerable building up to make it ready for homes. So that's pretty much my presentation. If you have any questions, you have my contact information. Send me an email, give me a call, or shoot me a text, anything like that. Let me know if you need anything else.